everybody. Today I want to talk about the Social Security Fairness Act. This was a bill that was signed into law today by President Joe Biden. I'm sure a lot of you have been seeing it on the news and being tossed around, and I'm hopefully wanted to shed a little bit more light on it. This does not impact the majority of Americans directly, however, indirectly it does, as it does create more of a strain on the Social Security system that is already broken and already projected to be insolvent and bankrupt by year 2035. So although the projection is not a huge amount of time that's taking off of it, about 6 to 12 months off the total amount of time where it's going to be insolvent, it still does have an impact. So we still do need to keep that in the back burner, that something does need to be done in order to protect our Social Security benefits for those that are currently retired, those that are coming up on retiring, and those that are just simply looking to plan for their retirement future. Is this something that you're going to be able to depend on? And the question and the answer right now is really we don't know right now. But let's jump back into this Social Security Fairness Act. So basically, what has happened is that there's two provisions that were passed many years ago, known as the windfall elimination provision, as well as the government pension offset. So the windfall elimination provision, basically what this means is, so we can use teachers as an example, because a lot of what this impacts is public servants. So public servants are police, firefighters, teachers, as well as government employees that receive a government pension. So in this particular example, if we use teachers, teachers pay into the teachers' retirement, again, which is part of the teachers' union. And after a certain number of years, based on their final years of earnings or whatever set in place based off their contract, they will receive a contract for the remaining years of their life. They don't pay into Social Security, so they're not entitled to Social Security benefits. They are entitled to Medicare, but they aren't entitled to Social Security. So if they work a second job, or if they converted jobs, if they had another job prior to becoming a teacher, their Social Security benefit would actually get reduced. So say they paid in enough money in order to receive a Social Security benefit, but because they are receiving a teacher's retirement benefit, their Social Security will be reduced by a certain percentage. And I'm not going to get into specifics of that. So that was basically the windfall provision. That now is gone. So now this more closely mirrors, in my opinion, the private sector. Whereas in the private sector, you're able to contribute to a 401k plan, and you're able to retire on that 401k plan, taking distributions, required minimum distributions, as well as collecting Social Security based off of what you paid in, years of working, and then your age at which you first initially want to collect your Social Security benefits. The second provision under this act is the government pension offset. Government pension offset really mainly applies to surviving spouses. So you maybe had a spouse that worked in the military or worked for the government, is entitled to get a pension. Although you, as a surviving spouse, you worked in the private sector and paid into Social Security. So you had been receiving Social Security benefits, but you're still going to be, when your spouse passes, you would still be entitled to a portion of his government retirement pension. So when that time comes, they would actually reduce your Social Security benefit based off of that government retirement benefit. So that is no more. So again, that has a greater impact. That is having a greater impact on more individuals, as people are going to start getting more money right off the bat, because whereas they weren't receiving Social Security benefits, they'll now be entitled to be able to receive Social Security benefits. So like I said, a lot of people under this provision, it only impacts maybe about 1%. It does more closely align like with the private sector. And I know that the thoughts upon passing of this bill prior to this bill passing, the thoughts behind it were that you were receiving, essentially what was happening is their opinion was you were receiving two government benefits. You're receiving Social Security paid by the government, and you're also receiving a government pension that was also paid by the government. However, you put your years of service in. You put your years of service into that government agency to receive that pension, and you put your years of service in order to receive that Social Security benefit. So this really just makes it exactly as it says. It's a more fair bill. It closely aligns to the private sector, and it doesn't impact that many individuals. However, again, like I said, the biggest elephant in the room that needs to be addressed is that Social Security may become bankrupt in the up and coming years. So that'll probably be something that'll be coming down the line. My guess is once there's a change in administrations coming up down the road. But again, I did just want to kind of make brief mention of this, because I know you hear Social Security Fairness Act, but again, like I said, it really only impacts public servants, police, firefighters, teachers, and government employees that are receiving a government pension, as well as their spouses. So again, I think it's something good. We still need to address the Social Security being solvent, but for the time being, these individuals are able to receive more money, especially with inflation and everything going up crazy as it is. It'll be an immediate impact to families that were impacted by these two provisions within Social Security. So, again, overall, a good item, but we still need to address what's ultimately is up and coming. So, again, if anybody has any further questions on this or anything else that I maybe didn't cover, feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll catch you guys again in another video. Hopefully you find these videos helpful.